This is Weather or Not.
All right, welcome into this Thursday edition of Weather or Not. The chill is back and I'm here for it.
Yeah, it feels fantastic this morning. Colder temperatures obviously going to be coming in. And
Yep.
Yeah, can't wait. It's that time of year.
It is. That is leading off our three things here on this Thursday. Windy and noticeably cooler, getting chilly. Leaves are in the air.
I love that so much.
I love it. I love it. Having some fun with the graphics here. Also, one of the other big talkers here across the Carolinas, a lot of snow coming down in the North Carolina mountains, a lot of wind, a lot of cold up there. Obviously some issues for those left over from Helene, but we'll be taking a deep dive into that. And also looking ahead into Thanksgiving and what's going to happen.
Yeah, Thanksgiving, obviously. What's the question? We've been talking about the cold front yesterday. We'll give you the first alert to that Thanksgiving and what it could look like. Let's go ahead and start, though, with that cold front. We're feeling the effect of it. A wind that's been out of the northwest throughout the day. That wind at times still gusting 20 to 30 miles per hour.
Yeah, it had some a pretty impressive gust overnight as that front came through. A lot of folks saying, yeah, I heard it. Woke me up.
Yeah, 40 mile per hour in some spots up in the PD,
Yeah,
up in the western portions of the Carolinas as well.
Yeah, and we're going to see that chill continuing to pour in. Temperatures really drop overnight tonight, and then we're going to have that lingering wind heading into Friday morning. Not necessarily a strong wind, but 10, 15 miles per hour. That will be enough that for the first time this season, we're breaking out the wind chill forecast. Look at that. Upper 20s to low 30s is what it's going to feel like for just about all of us, even all the way down to the beaches, feeling like the low 30s early in the day on Friday, and afternoon temperatures tomorrow just kind of struggling into the low to mid 50s.
Yeah, the new data even today has kind of hinted at maybe some slightly cooler weather even as we go into Friday night and Saturday night as well. So that sets up the frost potential. Keep in mind, we will still have some 40s around for the Grand Strand, not expecting frost. The question here is we are going to lose some of that moisture, Jamie. So as temperatures get into the mid-30s inland, it's not going to be a widespread frost, but it will be patchy as we go into Friday night, Saturday morning. I think if we're going to see a little bit better coverage in the frost, it would be Saturday night. You'll notice some of those temperatures dipping down closer to the lower 30s.
Agreed, and I still wouldn't be surprised to see those Saturday night temperatures come down another degree or two from this forecast with completely calm winds finally settling in Saturday night. I think that'll probably end up being our chilliest night. And as you mentioned, also the best potential for that frost. Let's take you up into the mountains now because, yeah, the flakes are flying.
All eyes have been on this. The snow continues now to fall, and it will fall through this evening into tomorrow morning, and it will add up. Higher elevations. This is going to be a very elevation-dependent snowfall forecast.
Yeah, as is typical for this time of the year. Notice places like Asheville, Swannanoa, Black Mountain, Bat Cave, down to Hendersonville. Those were the areas that were really hardest hit from Helene. They don't quite have the elevations as places further north. So there's probably going to be some flakes in the air around Asheville and Black Mountain, but likely no more than a dusting or two. But notice as you get up towards the Tennessee border, way up there into the Smokies and the ski resorts, going to be talking about potentially 8 to 12 inches. Ski Beach, Sugar Mountain, Cataloochee, all going to be picking up some big snow.
And we know a couple of people going up there. If you are going up there to see some of that snow, we would love to see some videos. We would love to see some photos. See it, snap it, send it would be a perfect opportunity for that. And yeah, we'll have some FOMO, fear of missing out, as we go into that. The snowpack, the wind alone, going to also be brutal as we go into tomorrow morning. We're talking feeling like the teens. And keep in mind, you get some of those snow totals that we're talking about, 4 or 6 inches. Yeah, it could feel even colder than this with the snowpack in those elevations above 3,000, 5,000 feet.
Yeah, and also some impressive wind gusts up there. They could reach 40 to 50 miles per hour. That is causing a bit of a concern. A lot of trees up there still leaning, a lot of limbs still hanging out of trees. So some issues there with the leftover damage from Helene. A lot of people don't realize how tough winters can be in the North Carolina mountains. We're way down here south in the south, but you get up there at Boone and Blowing Rock and Banner Elk, those places can have a heck of a winter, and they're getting off to a good start.
And those people thrive off of it as well. They know how to handle it. Let's go ahead, shall we, and talk about your first alert to Thanksgiving. Many of you probably have some of the plans, so let's go ahead and show you that tricky forecast. And we mentioned this yesterday, tricky forecast. There's actually 2 fronts now. One's going to come through Tuesday, kind of set the scene for some cooler temperatures. The key is Thanksgiving. What about the timing? This morning, trying to get back to closer to what we're thinking, but one model doesn't mean that it's going to happen.
Yeah, this time yesterday, both of these models were showing temperatures into the 50s for Thanksgiving. On Tuesday, they were showing 70s. Now they're back to 70s. And as you mentioned, it's all about timing some cooler air that moves in. Is it going to be Wednesday? Is it going to be Thanksgiving Day? Is it going to be Black Friday? And that also sort of ties into timing of potentially some unsettled weather, maybe a little bit of rain, maybe kind of gloomy. It's still kind of a big question mark at this point.
Yeah, let's kind of peel back the curtain here, because this is what we do. This is our forecasting. So when you get the 50s, you get the 70s, and it's changing every model run, what do you do? Well, the forecast, probably what you would think. You say there's going to be a cold front.
Yep.
There's going to be some showers.
Yep.
And you kind of finagle it a little bit until we have a clearer answer.
And you keep it a little bit vague.
Yes.
70s, 60s, maybe some storm chances, maybe a cold front. Yeah, this isn't a forecast that's set in stone for Halloween for sure.
Yeah, and it'll certainly change for people asking when will we know more. I would say for sure by next week you'll be able to get that, and we'll start to get some clarity as we go into that weekend as well. Let's take you coast to coast.
Coast to coast, here we go. Starting off with our extremes from yesterday. McAllen, Texas, 92. What is that? Peter Sims?
Peter Sinks.
Peter Sinks.
Every time we have Peter Sinks, I think this is the third time, you're always like, what is that?
Well, you know, I can't see.
Negative 26.
I need to get to Peter Sinks. I'm going to have to look up where this is.
The chill in the air. Utah's beautiful too if you've never been.
Yeah.
Peter Sinks certainly
What
feeling
part of the state is
chill
it in?
there. And I don't know.
You don't know. Okay. Right.
Jenna may know, but I don't know. Come on, geography
Do you
wizard.
have, I've never heard of Peter Sinks. I know McAllen.
Yeah.
Yeah, deep South Texas. I've flown into McAllen. Yep, tiny little airport. I'm surrounded by cactuses.
Cacti.
Yeah. McAllen, Texas, 92 degrees. Any fun facts on that?
No, none at all. We were doing a podcast, which is also airing tonight too. So
Really didn't do your research for the show today.
Just trying
All
my
right.
hardest. Let's talk about what I do know. It's going to be the wind. It's going to be the cool temperatures. And yeah, as we go to that forecast, we talked about the snow. Most of that snow will continue as we go to Friday morning. We'll even hold on to that for North Carolina. Another band of it sets up there. You see all that up there in the green in West Virginia. Yeah, they're going to be dealing with the snow there. Across our area, the southeast, plenty of clear skies, cooler temperatures. The wind will begin to settle down, but it's not going to matter much. 55 here at home. You'll get into the 60s. And you know when Orlando gets to 68, yeah, that's a pretty strong cold front.
Yeah, 55 in Myrtle Beach for the high temperature tomorrow. That's about our average high temperature in the middle part of January. Doesn't say much. It's not terribly cold in the grand scheme of things, but yeah, certainly a chilly forecast here as we wrap up the week. We talked about this yesterday, a lot of action in the Northeast. Big upper level low just kind of spinning over New York and Pennsylvania. There's going to be some big totals up there somewhere from Altoona to State College, Poughkeepsie into Scranton, maybe Allentown. Even the Big Apple could get a little bit of snow in some spots, and then you can see that heavier snow extending all the way down into West Virginia, where some spots there potentially picking up a foot of snow. The dark blue, those are those winter storm warnings in those areas that we highlighted, winter weather advisories, winter storm watches, and yeah, check out this snow forecast.
Oh my goodness. This is what we call upslope forcing. So basically you get the wind and you go up the mountainside. That basically continues snow, and that's why you snowshoe West Virginia. Also talking about those upslope winds all across the mountain terrain there of West Virginia. Going to add up to over a foot of snow when all is said and done.
Oh yeah, and it's going to be that heavy wet snow that just sticks to absolutely everything. Going to be a beautiful pre-Thanksgiving sight, and obviously tomorrow with the snow, as you would expect, temperatures are colder, generally into the mid to upper 30s. Look at Bluefield, West Virginia tomorrow, only getting to the freezing mark with that snow in the air. Let's take you into the Midwest. A lot of clouds, kind of a gloomy look from Chicago to Milwaukee to Minneapolis. All the active weather, though, there across Ohio, Pennsylvania, into West Virginia. A little bit of snow shower activity sneaking its way into the Dakotas. No big deal for November standards, but chilly up there.
Yeah, and that system parks itself basically and keeps the clouds around. That'll keep temperatures in the 40s in St. Louis, Cedar Rapids as well. And then where you start to get the sunshine back as you go into Nebraska, still talking 50s and 60s, eventually looking at 59 there in Dodge City.
And hey, why not? 12 25 degrees up in North Dakota.
Oh my goodness. Let's continue it down into the southwest as we do so. A lot of heat, a lot of high pressure. Temperature is going to be once again in the 90s. We talked about no systems bringing in any sort of rainfall for this area. So as we go into the weekend, everything looking fantastic. Pretty decent temperature gradient though, as you once again look at some 70s and 80s and even some 60s on the northern portion there of Texas. How about Roswell? 68 degrees. Santa Fe sitting at 60.
Yeah, snooze fest in the southwest, no doubt about it. Let's get out of there. Let's go to where the weather is. Look at that big spin off the coast of Washington and Oregon. That is what is left of what has been a very impressive storm system. And it continues to bring a lot of moisture and a lot of snow, especially across parts of Montana, across the Canadian border. Rain extending all the way down to San Francisco, Monterey Bay, picking up on some of that wet weather heading into Friday.
Yeah, those temperatures finally beginning to warm up as we head into tomorrow. They've been stuck in the 30s and 40s over there where that snow's continued to dump. Temperatures in the mid 50s as you go into Oregon. You'll notice those 60s and 70s and yeah, more of that warmth all the way down into Phoenix. But let's take you back to some of that snow. That snow was heavy at times, a heavy wet snow. Continued across the Cascades into farther northern California from that atmospheric river. And you probably heard the term Bomb Cyclone. We'll get to that here in a second. Yeah, plenty of snow, heavy, wet snow, and even some rain and flooding, creating some rock slides there. Let's take you also to that Santa Rosa, California, where you'll notice the northern California. You can see the flooding on the right side of your screen. Intense driving conditions there. We had trees down, we had snow, we had flooding, literally a little bit of everything. And Jamie, this all comes from bombogenesis or bomb cyclone.
Bombogenesis and bomb cyclone. Unfortunately, 2 fatalities from downed trees there near Seattle. They had winds gusting, in some cases, close to 80 miles per hour, all from a system called a bomb cyclone. Okay, what exactly is it? Is it as scary as it sounds? Jenna Greenhill breaking it down for us.
Well, over the past couple of days, you may have heard the term bombogenesis and bomb cyclone, but may not have completely understood what that means. It's a name given to a rapidly strengthening and powerful low pressure system. The term bomb comes from that low pressure system rapidly falling, giving that storm a very explosive strength. This happens when you see a 24 millibar drop in the span of 24 hours or less, and we likely see them in the northern Atlantic or northern Pacific. Now we see that bomb cyclone right now along the west coast. Now this bomb cyclone, we saw a 40 millibar drop in the span of 24 hours, which is very similar right now, the strength of 940 millibar, very similar to a strong Category 3 hurricane. We're also seeing that atmospheric river where it's basically all of the water vapor that's being held up in the clouds. It travels over the mountains and it gets released in the form of heavy rainfall and snow. Now for us on the East Coast, you may remember January 3rd to 5th of 2018, where we had this bomb cyclone, where we even saw some snow for parts of the Grand Strand. For whether or not, I'm meteorologist Jenna Greenhill.
Bomb cyclones, exciting stuff.
Our own Darion Henderson asked this morning, what is a bomb cyclone? And the easiest, because you know how we like to do it in science, overcomplicate.
Right.
I said, you know how hurricanes rapidly intensify?
Yep.
He said, yeah. I said, same process, just not a hurricane.
Just not a hurricane, just a bomb cyclone. And really, it wasn't until 2018 that bomb cyclone sort of entered the television industry. It was, before that, always kind of an internal, among us weather geeks and meteorologists, we would say bombogenesis or bomb cyclone, but one little newspaper headline used it and it blew up. So now we have to explain what a bomb cyclone is all the time.
You know, it's catchy, it's
That's
clickbait,
right.
but we like it. This is what this show is for. Let's take it to See It, Snap It, Send It, and we love this segment, especially when you get colors like this, and guess what? Good old faithful Mark Moore coming in with the colors. Not only is he out there every morning and even in the evening, but this morning with the wind, the temperatures, and the wind chill, guess who was out?
Yep.
Mark Moore. It's awesome.
That is dedication, and boy, what a beautiful sight. Again, that early sunrise with those high clouds drifting overhead. Thank you, Mark, for that. Let's take you to our next one here. And another beautiful view from Robin Hendricks, the full beaver moon earlier this week. Look at that. I mean, how perfect. Does it get any more beach than this? A pier, a shrimp boat, the seagulls all in one shot with the full beaver moon rising.
Pier 14 there, and yeah, that is why we live where we live. Also, Robin, thank you for sending your photo. We appreciate that. I think a new name. I don't think we've had Robin.
Yeah, I don't think so.
On Whether or Not, so that's awesome. Want to remind you, you can also send your photos to us by scanning this QR code. See it, snap it, send it. The QR code will take you to the First Alert Weather app at the bottom of the app. Yeah, there's a place for you to submit the photo right there from the palm of your hand in your phone, and hopefully you'll do that. Maybe it's Thanksgiving plans, or maybe it's snow. We'd love to see it all.
Yeah, we want to see it all. Speaking of snow, for tomorrow's episode, we'll be checking in on that snow and the wind up there in the North Carolina mountains. Also trying to hopefully get that fuzzy picture of Thanksgiving and the travel and the shopping all going with it. Hopefully kind of clear up that picture a little bit better.
And don't forget, it's Friday happy hour. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. We're going to be breaking down some of our favorite moments, and we're going to look ahead to some of our favorite things for that Thanksgiving tradition. So can't wait for that.
Going to be a good time. So make sure you join us again for tomorrow's episode of Whether or Not on WBFnews.com. Thanks for tuning in today.